Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening and a warm welcome to the Red and Blue Review. Hopefully we are broadcasting to you live on Facebook. It is, I can see it. It's actually appearing as we speak. Turning that down. Welcome back to season evening. Hang on a minute. I've got other people joining us as
Frozen. Yeah.
we speak. Will be Ian Bristow.
You're on.
Good evening.
Hello. Are we live, Nick? Oh, he's gone. Is he frozen?
There you go, boys. No,
Right.
I'm here. Look at my God. Look, there's already 43 people there coming to say hello to Steve Freeman, Andy Stacey, Rob Donovan, John Mucktug. How are you, mate? I hope you're all well and safe and all that sort of stuff. I'm trying to see who else is out there. There's loads of it. Graham says Nick's frozen again, but I know I am not frozen. Look, I don't know if you can see this, Ian, but I can even see the people coming through on screen and their comments. Phil Usher saying good evening. Matty Cannon, yes, sort of live, mate. Graham Daniels, Chris Wood, Sean Beams, Michael Middleton, Chris Young, and everybody. Guys, hope you're all well. Welcome back to another season of Red and Blue Reviews. We thought we'd better jump on. Any news on our guest, Ian?
Right, I'm just sending him a link now because we've had so many false starts tonight. You wouldn't believe it.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, in the back, just to let you know, this is my first time using the Richard Harvey saying, Phil Pot, you muppet. Paul Holden saying, good evening to the Ultras. Yeah, the Ultras are back for another season. And you know what it's like with us and the new technology. Nice cracker. Hey, how you been, mate?
Yeah, I'm good until this morning. I got the dreaded ping off the COVID app.
Oh, you go. See, we're going to come on to that in a minute, actually. And Ian Noble, I hope you're well, mate.
Good evening, Nicholas. Yes, I am very well. Thank you very much.
And I'm not going to go into any detail, but love to your family, and you know the rest, okay? So, thoughts and prayers from the whole team are with you. So, we have a new manager in place, gentlemen. Are we pleased with the appointment to start with? We'll go into some detail in a minute, but are you pleased with the appointment?
Yeah. It's I say back days ago, when we appointed Steve Coppell, would have said, Steve who? Do we really want him? I say he's turned out to be a legend, so why not? We'll see what Patrick can give us.
I think clearly Patrick Vieira wasn't first choice for. I don't think anyone I know said, "Oh, let's get Patrick Vieira in the hot seat." And yet, now that when it was leaked, a couple of weeks ago, well, a few days ago, I think most of us were resigned to the fact that it was a good appointment. You can't argue with a guy's pedigree as a footballer. He's won the lot, hasn't he? The World Cup, the Euros, Premier League, the FA Cup. And he's an absolute legend in that place north of the river. And they loved him to bits there. He was captain, I think, during their invincible season in whenever that was, 03-04. And yet his managerial record is nothing to write home about. And yet I put him in the same category as your Lampards, your Gerrards, in terms of, the era they played in and how they've oh look, someone's joined us, that's good. And look, so we've got to accept that Patrick Vieira is our manager. I'm happy with the appointment. I think it's a great appointment, to be honest with you. Nick, we can't hear you, Nick. John, can you hear us? Can you hear me, John?
I can hear you, Ian.
That's lovely. I'll take over. Look, as you can see, guys, in Facebook Live, we have a special guest with us this evening, Mr. John Salako, someone I've known for a few years. Thanks, John, for joining us. How are you, first of all?
I'm good. Looking forward to the world starting up again.
Yes.
As of the 19th, we're going to be pretty much back to normal. So that is really cool. I think we've all had the vaccines by then. I think I'm certainly in that category. I had mine a little while ago. So, we've got to get going. It's great to see the fans back in football clubs. Wimbledon Centre Court is more or less packed to number one. It's just brilliant.
Yeah, sure.
Concerts and the world getting going again. But look, the main focus for the next few days, certainly week till next Sunday, it's going to be pretty exciting times. I honestly believe.
Yeah, excellent.
Can you hear me, Neil?
We can hear you now, Nick. You're back with us. Go on.
Johnny, welcome back, mate. Nice to see you again. Thank you for spending the evening with us. How long since you've been on the show? Can't remember. 18 months?
No, well, I mean, the world's been shut down for at least 18 months, isn't it? So it must be, probably 3 years. Would it be?
You haven't changed a bit.
John, is that what it takes for you to buy me a pint to shut the world down? Okay, put the world into a pandemic. Okay, before you actually return that beer that you owe me.
Hey, you can have that beer whenever you want. You know that.
Cheers, mate. It's great to have you. But listen, we thought we'd go live simply just to touch on what has been a debacle of a management appointment up until this point, and of course the great news that we finally got one. Nuno Espirito Santos was the first one on the running order. I feel a little bit sorry for Patrick Vieira because he was clearly not that high up on the list of Parish's priorities. We had Nuno, and then we had that guy. What was his name? Father, and Frank Lampard, of course. How do you feel with his slight lack of management experience, John, about the appointment?
It was really weird because I thought, obviously, when they spoke to Roy and they decided Roy wasn't going to continue, I thought it gave them a really good head start on who the new manager was going to be. Now, whether or not they were courting certain people and they were waiting for the merry-go-round to happen to know who was available. I mean, Frank was in the running and the front runner. We thought he had the job. Certainly Frank would make sense. He's an absolute legend. He knows the market. He did a great job at Derby, at Chelsea. I thought he did a fantastic job, really, with the pressures that he would have had at Chelsea. So to have got someone like Frank, and I always said, if Frank could come and work with like Ray Lewington, someone like that would be, I would have thought that would work for me. Frank has a good presence, a good understanding, and he gave young players a good grounding. And, once we've got that training ground sorted, and it's a great catchment area, and what Palace are about is giving the youngsters a chance and bringing through the youth. So Frank certainly would have fitted that mould for me. I know that Steve Parish likes Eddie Howe, should say. He's a good manager, very experienced. And then obviously I did a piece for TalkSport not long ago just saying, Nuno's about to be unveiled and next Palace manager. And I thought, wow, okay, I thought he was going to Spurs. I thought he was nailed on. He is that calibre of manager that I think Nuno could manage a top 4 side, top 6 sides, manage in Europe. He certainly proved that with Wolves. So to get someone like him would have been a major coup, and, disappointed he didn't come. And then we go back to who is going to come in, and, Vieira, Patrick came in from absolutely nowhere, and an absolute legend, one of the greatest players ever. Has won the World Cup, he's won everything, certainly with Arsenal, and he comes in with a great pedigree. He coached in New York and then Nice. He knows that he knows that top end of the market. He knows a lot of players that could well suit Palace, because we're not talking about the elite. We're talking maybe just underneath that. He'll have a good idea of that calibre of player that will come and will make Palace better, will make us stronger and improve us, no doubt. And it's going to be important with his recruitment. He's got to obviously sort out all the boys that have got contracts up, who he wants to keep, who he wants to let go. It's a great opportunity to clear some of those players that have been here for a long time and perhaps just get into that stage where we need fresh legs. But we don't want 10, you need 4 or 5. Maybe 6, the right calibre, the right quality, because there's still a good nucleus of players. Looks like we're going to keep Wilf, I hope, touch wood. Great for him to stay. So, look, I think it's exciting times. I don't think we should get carried away, because I think Patrick, do you remember Frank de Boer came in to play that IX way. We're going to, you know, the Academy of Football, and he's going to
Don't
change.
remind us of that. Don't remind us of that.
Yeah, he tried to change things too quickly, from what I understood, with the way he was with the boys, the philosophy. So Patrick's got to learn from things like that and come in, I think, take his time, get the boys. I saw a picture of him with Sean Derry, Dean Kiley and Paddy McCarthy. You know, lean on those boys. Whoever he's got in around him, with whoever he's brought in, I think they're going to be key to helping him with the DNA, helping him understand, you know, Wilfred, and not helping him to understand the boys and how they think and what they're capable of, and how they want to play. And really then, as he builds into it, get a couple of results and then bring in your own players, gel them into that squad, ease them into there. And then maybe, yeah, when it's right, he can play a little bit more expansive, a little bit more exciting football that, you know, we're all so desperate to see. But we also we know how important it is to stay in the top flight.
John, there's a lot of love for you out there in Facebook land. Lee Lockwood's asking you a question. Johnny Salad, can you please tell the story of how Mark and Ian used to buy your shirts for you every time you set them up a goal? He said, I love that story, but not everybody's going to be aware of it. I've got no idea what he's talking about.
Do you know what? That is bright and righty. They're gits, they are. So what they did was, because they wanted to score the goals, so they were thinking of ways that they could bribe me, basically. So they used to say, Sal, listen, you set us up, we're going to bring you in some gear, you know. And I thought they're going to bring in the good gear, the Armani, you know, the top of the range stuff, the Chanel and the, you know, the Hugo. So the truth is, I did get a couple of little bit of hand-me-down second hand stuff, but, you know, nothing like they've made it out to be, and they've dined out on that a little bit. And it's interesting because, you know, that was one of the great things about Steve Coppell and Alan Smith with their management, because, you know, really Steve had a group that were hungry, and he had Brighty and Righty, and he was trying to keep them happy. But, you know, he had myself and Eddie and Jeff Thomas and Andy Gray. But I think one thing they realised, and what they did was, it came to me and they sort of said, what we're going to do is, we're not going to just give you a goal bonus. What we're going to give you, we're going to give you an assist bonus as well. So it kind of encouraged me, and, you know, it kind of made me feel as though, you know, an assist was just as good as a goal. So they you know, he was encouraging because he could see that. He didn't want there to be that kind of, you know, problem in the dressing room. And you know, looking back now, and obviously the way everyone plays, you know, I think I would definitely be a little bit more greedy, a little bit more selfish, and certainly goals make prizes. So, you know, I can't take that back. I enjoyed being part of the team and assisting and creating goals for Mark and Ian. Yeah, we had it, you know, that was brilliant. But I'd like to have got a few more. I think I probably could have done if I was given a license. I saw me playing in that shirt at Highbury. Do you remember I grabbed a couple playing up front with Chris Armstrong?
Yeah. Mate, I wore it for you tonight out of respect. I
love that. Do you know what?
How old is this? How old is this? This is from that time. This is not a replica from the club shop this year. Anybody out in Facebook land, give me a clue. How old is this shirt? I don't know. I think I've got children.
I'll go 93. Is it 92, 93, John?
I'm thinking it's later though. I'm thinking 94, 95.
Well, he wouldn't have been asking.
I'm going 94.
Oh, okay.
And certainly, you know,
the other thing about that shirt was with the light blue shorts and the white socks, which is the Brazil kit. Yeah. I mean, we've had tops similar, but we've had yellow shorts or something, and I like that. The Brazil kit was the one, wasn't it? You know, it was the business.
Well, I mean, the reason I wore it is because obviously later on during the show we're gonna touch on the kit launches, okay, or more importantly, the third kit launch is the only one we got, and they've actually reverted back to the yellow, if you realise. And people were making a big issue about it. I don't know if you remember this, boys, but people were making a big issue about it. That inside the fabric of the yellow, they've got this big eagle embossed on it. Okay. Well, the original shirt, okay, of all those years ago, they're not dirty stains in there. They're eagles.
We're taking word. We can't see it.
I know you can't. But look, that there is an eagle. Okay, there's hundreds of little eagles embossed into the shirt, and people don't remember that from the original shirt. That's what they did. Anyway, we digress. So we were talking about 93, 94, and people are saying 92 in the chat. They're saying 94 in the chat. Let's bring it more up to date. Ian, when you and I spoke this morning, you were saying that you thought that Vieira had been involved in talks with Parish at an earlier stage than this week.
Yes, I do. I've read it somewhere that he was talking to Parish around April time, maybe. And I don't think we should have too much worry about the fact that Nuno and Fabre and Frank Lampard were linked with Palace before Vieira was appointed. If you say, oh, you're fourth choice for a job, that's hardly flattering. But we don't know that, do we? We don't know that Steve Parish wasn't talking to him. He might have preferred Nuno. He probably did. He might have preferred Fabre. He probably did. But we just don't know those things. So I think what we should do as supporters of Crystal Palace Football Club is embrace the fact that Patrick Vieira is our manager. He's certainly a household name, super well respected in the world of football. As John said, I think he will want to bring in his own players, 4 or 5, and he will have good connections. And a bit like Frank Lampard, he likes youth. He likes the younger players to bring them through, and he's got some experience of that in his managerial role at Nice, I understand. So, I'm really positive. Glass is very much half full for me with this appointment.
And I think again the point John made earlier on about the recruitment side. The recruitment's going to be so important, Nigel. I mean, he's going to have to hit the ground running. Parish's opening notes about Vieira is talking about he's got a lot of work to do with the director of football, Mr. Freeman. The recruitment's going to be so important, Nigel.
Oh, it's 100%.
I need to go and grab my charger. I'll be right back.
No worries, mate. No worries, buddy.
Grab his charger.
Got Nigel.
I say he's got to go down that list of possible ones to do a quick re-signing of just gone out of contract, and then go out and find the quality to replace them. But I'm sure he's got contacts that Dougie hasn't even got yet. So I'm sure there's going to be quality players coming in.
Ian, in the chat, they're asking, does anybody know who the number 2 is? Now, there was that Welsh guy mentioned who I don't know who.
I've got a picture.
Somebody said Roy Keane. Roy Keane and Patrick Vieira.
No, the number 2 is reported as Osaim Roberts. Now, I don't know this guy. He is admired as a director of football at the Morocco FA. The Morocco FA? My life.
Really?
Welsh national side under Chris Coleman and Ryan Giggs. So this guy is Osaim Roberts. So, we don't know that's not yet, but that's who we think it might be.
The last I heard, they were negotiating with Morocco to try and get him out of that contract.
James Convoy just confirmed Osaim Roberts. I have to say to you guys, that's a new name on me. Paul's asking, where's John gone? John's right there. So Steve Parish said, when the appointment was finally announced, it's probably the worst kept secret in football. We've got a lot of work to do to prepare in the coming weeks, and I look forward to working closely with Patrick and Dougie and bringing in some new faces to help us to a successful season. And of course, Nigel's just alluded to it. We've also got all these players out of contract, and the one that's really, I don't know why, but he's really bothering me is Joel Ward. Joel Ward approaching his 10th season, testimonial year. Boys, John, I'll kick off with you. We've got to give Joel an extension to his contract, haven't we? Not only he had a good season last year. Yeah,
no, he was phenomenal. I just can't believe Joel. And in fact, when I work with him, he's just an incredible lad with a great work ethic. He loves the club. And I thought he was running out of legs, and he really has just done so much work, and he really does deserve that. I mean, he really impressed me how good he was last year, because I kept thinking his legs were going to fall off, and at the intensity and the pace that the Premier League is played at, and week in, week out, he's just so reliable. He's an honest lad, and he more than deserves that. And I think it's just a testament to his character, how well he's done and for how long he's done it for.
And did you not think, John, too, about the fact that he's a model professional, in as much as he had to sort of take a back seat when Aaron Wan-Bissaka broke into the first team? Yeah. And, he didn't moan, he didn't throw his toys out his pram, he just did his job, he was there as cover. I remember seeing him when we played Arsenal away, he played left-back. I think it was the time we beaten 3-2. I might be wrong, but I think it was the 3-2 win over there. And he played left-back, and he was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And AWB on the right. But, he had to bide his time, didn't he? But the way he's come back, I think he's earned that opportunity. Yeah, definitely.
I'll be disappointed. Yeah. I'll be disappointed if he doesn't stay. Moving on back on to the Vieira thing, he's opening statements to the club, and I'm really surprised that they announced it on a Sunday and didn't have any sort of audio or video footage of him being welcomed to the club. I see tonight, just before we came on air, there was a picture tweeted with Steve Parish and Patrick Vieira socially distancing somewhere at the training ground, but that's the only thing that I've seen published. And he said, I'm really excited to have this opportunity to return to the Premier League and manage this great football club as we begin this new chapter together. It's a project that is really appealing to me, having spoken a lot to the chairman and the sporting director about their ambitions and plans for the whole club, including the academy. The club has a fantastic foundations in place after many years in the Premier League, and I hope that we can make further improvements to continue to drive the club forward. I'm also very excited to experience the atmosphere, which we're going to come on to now, boys, at the club's supporters make at Sellers Park and away from home too. And I know how important it is to the team. Now, on that subject, that we may as well touch on that right now. Big news from the government that we go into next season with full stadiums again. John, what difference does that make to a player on the pitch, okay, to have a full stadium, or the home style, giving it to you massive?
John? He's frozen.
John, you're frozen.
He's frozen.
John, come back on. Just push the link again, John, if you can hear me. Nigel, great news, isn't it, for all the supporters? I know you're up north and everything else, and your games are limited. It's fantastic news, is it not?
Oh, it is. It's, sort of you've got the motivation from the crowd, and the players can now use the excuse that they can't hear the manager barking the orders from the bench. So, no, it's back to proper football again. So as the Euros have progressed and you've slowly got more and more team players coming in, as the competition's slowly sort of concluding, sort of the atmosphere is building.
You mentioned the manager talking from the bench. And one thing I will miss about next season, Ian, is Ray Lewington's voice on the sideline, because he's the guy was an inspiration, wasn't he?
Yeah, certainly. If you were sitting on your sofa, it was quite entertaining to listen to him occasionally. But I think if you hear any player, you ask John the question, what difference does it make? I'm not sure he would know how to answer it, because he's not played in front of a non-full stadium like the players have in the last 12 months, 18 months or so. They've all said it makes a huge difference. And you can imagine that, can't you, yourself? If you were an actor on stage playing to an empty theatre, then it would be very different to playing to a full theatre. And that's how it is. So, don't underestimate the part that we play as fans, collectively in a ground, because it makes a huge difference, I'm sure, to everyone.
Boys out in Facebook land, John Lyons, Jason Cader, welcome, mate. As you can see, we've been joined by John Salako this evening. Unfortunately, at his end, he seems to have dropped off, so I'm hoping he's going to click back on again, and I'll bring him straight up as soon as you know. Colin Squires, Paul Obi, Georgia Wagru, Paul Bristow, can see you all out there, and every single one of your comments is coming through. Bear in mind, we are using a new bit of software here this evening, and it's making it nice and easy for me to see your comments as they come through the screen. So, pre-season, boys. So we have I don't suppose we're going to be allowed to any of the games pre-season, but are any of the pre-season fixtures exciting you at all?
Well, I've got a list of what's been announced so far.
Go for it, mate.
We start off on the 16th of July. We play Portsmouth. And that's up at St George's at Burton-upon-Trent.
What's the George's
following night on the 17th, we go to Walsall at the Bescott Stadium. 23rd, at Palace 11 will play against Stevenage up at Stevenage. Then we're starting to get into the more gritty matches. 24th of July, Crystal Palace will play Ipswich at Portman Road. And on the 27th of July, Palace are at home to the Clowns. No doubt there'll be more fixtures probably for the Palace 11 announced nearer the time, I think.
Go on, you carry on, mate. You take that. But it's interesting. You had a couple on there that I didn't have. Obviously the Shark game. I didn't have.
Can you do it again?
Walsall fixture. You said it was at the Bescott Stadium.
Yes,
I've got it. It's actually the Saddlers will play host to Palace at the Bank Stadium at 1 o'clock. The Bank Stadium.
Well, I think it used to be called the Bescott.
All right, so
I think Banks are the brewery that sponsor them.
That's it.
There you go.
So it's probably been renamed.
Okay, a question
that was John Salako on the phone. He's coming back in again.
Archie. Oh, that was John Salako on the phone.
Oh, John's just rang me.
Yeah, John's just picked up the phone. Yeah, he didn't answer my call, but he answered your call today, didn't he? Lee Lockwood has just said, where is the money coming from the players if the Yanks want out? Will it mean potential new owners have ring fence funds? And if it's good, I'll just keep me on the screen, make sure John's not there. And is it the case? Do we kiss goodbye to the new stand? Ian, have a play with that.
I don't think you can kiss goodbye to the new stand. I think it's all part of the plan, isn't it? In the future. So I don't think it's particularly relevant. I don't know why anyone would think that necessarily. But who knows? I don't know any more than that, Nick. I can't really comment, to be honest with you. Sorry, not much help.
There's this guy that does the holograms. Is very interested in the club.
He's a potential investor.
If he comes, we can have any player we like playing, can't we? We just have a computerised image running around the pitch.
I know, but we've been aware of potential different investors for years. I mean, I actually stood on the Holmesdale 2 years ago with some guy from Holland that I know that was over here looking to invest. I know that there was some Far Eastern rich sheikhs involved. There's been loads of people expressing an interest. Okay, but there's never been anybody forthcoming to actually sort it out. But there you go. It's that. So the reason we've come on the air this evening, ladies and gentlemen, is just to celebrate the fact that finally we have a new manager. Finally, we have a new manager, and I think it hasn't reflected that well on the club on how poor or what's happened over the last few weeks. And I'd be intrigued to know your comments out in Facebook then. How good or bad did it reflect on us with the Nuno thing, with the father thing, with the Lampard thing? What are your thoughts? Because you tell us in the chat, and we will I'll happily read them out. Muxer's saying the hologram guy said he was only a fan. And do you think Patrick Vieira will bring through some of the under-23 lads sooner than Roy would have done? Well, I'll take that. Mark Callahan said that. I'll take that. The answer simply is yes, Mark. Okay. Roy was great. Roy was safe and everything else. I think you'll find that already in his opening statement, Vieira's talking about the academy and everything else. I believe you'll find that this is part of his brief is to say, we have a limited budget. Yes, we are going to do some recruitment, but you've got to mix it with your youth. We've got a very successful academy, very successful under-23s, and indeed now it's successful under-18s. The answer to your question, Mark, is simply yes, he's going to have to. Ian, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. That's what I said earlier. I think Patrick Vieira, as a manager, he's been known to favour youth. Therefore, I think we can expect to see more youngsters coming through. Both sides, the under-18s, the under-23s, had very good seasons last year, and some stars in those sides. And then you got people like Scotty Banks coming back from his loan spell. He was apparently down at Beckenham training today. So I think it bodes well for the strength and depth of the squad. I do think we need to add to it. Certainly, if all the players out of contract, I mean, they're not all going to go, are they? But some will leave. I expect someone like Scott Dan to move on, and maybe one or two others. But I think you've got to make sure that you do tie down people like Joel Ward, as we've said. I'd like to see Andros Townsend be given another contract for sure. Martin Kelly was training today. I think he's out of contract. I mean, he didn't get kicked last season. I'd be surprised if he's still here for the rest of the season, to be honest with you.
Right, Ian, there's a couple of points in the chat that I want to cover off. Okay.
Yeah, please do.
Leslie Fuller out in France. Good evening, Mr. Fuller. I hope you're well, buddy. He said he's alluded to the new Palace website. Now, those of you who've been onto the New Palace website, they're saying about it's all singing, all dancing, and how easy it is to use. Well, Leslie's saying the New Palace website app is a pig to use. Question mark. And I think he's probably right. There was another point in there. Colin Waterman is saying it would have been nice. Now, everybody pin your ears back to this because I'm about to tell the boys something they don't know it, okay? It would have been nice if Steve Parish had given a statement to reassure the fans he didn't need to go into great detail or names, etc., but to let us know how things are progressing. Well, Colin's actually alluding to potential takeovers and that sort of stuff, okay, which is fine, okay. But ladies and gentlemen, out in Facebook land, once again, Red and Blue News formally invited himself. Oh, we have a guest. Hang on a second, bringing him back up to the stream. And here he is again. Welcome back, John. We're just talking about Steve Parish and the fact that the guys out in Facebook land are saying you think he'd given us some sort of indication as to what's going on with any potential takeover. Well, ladies and gentlemen, John Salako and you two boys, a formal invitation was sent to Steve Parish at 6 o'clock this evening to join us live on the show tonight. And once again, for the umpteenth time, he's decided to ignore our request. Okay, so if you think it's not because we're trying to get Steve Parish to come and join us, yeah, I know 5-year plan are actually recording tonight, but they're recording to broadcast later on. Okay, he had an opportunity tonight to come on, as John has done graciously, and just say to us, this is where we're at. This is, Patrick's coming in and he's bringing this person within this person as far as takeover, but once again, he's decided to ignore me. So if Mr. Parish, if you are watching the Red and Blue Review or one of your family are watching on your behalf, let us know. We will send you the link right now. Come and join us on the show. Your public awaits. Your public awaits. And we would love to.
I'll tell you what, you're more optimistic than any of us, Nick, aren't you? Really are.
I don't know why I waste my time because I think it's a high rudeness. He can't even bloody bother responding to us. John, have you had any wind of any takeovers, any potential takeovers, any potential investors at all?
I you know what, I do hear things from time to time from various sources, but do you know what? I can't honestly say with any certainty that there's any validity in that. I'm always hearing different things. So it would be remiss of me to say anything of what I've heard, but you do hear things from time to time that there are some discussions behind the scenes to bring new owners in, new investors to take the club with. It needs to go in all honesty.
We were talking about potential re-signing of some of the out-of-contract players, and the list is Van Arnholt, Scott Dan, Martin Kelly, and so on and so forth. Obviously Hennessy. The one that made the link that made me laugh was Hennessy being linked to Chelsea. But out of that list of few players, John, who would you resign? Andros Townsend, of course.
Yeah, do you know what? Andros is a fantastic talent. I think he's still got so much to offer. And he seems to be doing a lot of media at the moment. I don't know whether he's carrying any injury, something that we don't know about him, but certainly Andros would be. I love Scotty Dan. I think Scotty's been a great servant for the club. I mean, Van Arnholt is one of the best left backs in Europe. He's just showed that in the Euros what a good player is. So he would be a massive loss if we lose him. If he gets offers from places like that.
Yeah, is he breaking up for you boys as well?
Yeah, just in and out there, John. Yeah, just in and out.
John, I mean, I don't know if you've got access to the comments in the chat that's going through, and it's just oozing love for you. But Mukta Butter has asked you a question directly. John, do you think the Americans are desperate to sell, as people think that they are?
You know, the one thing I know about the Americans is obviously they were very about the fact that once you get relegated, money just falls off a cliff. So for them, they don't have that model because obviously in America, the top pick for the next season. So, they in the world, and obviously with that, when they try to set up this super, you can understand men of that, and they look at the model and they see the opportunity to monetize it. But what we find is
John, just to let you know, mate, your volume is dropping in and out. Who was that comedian? Did anybody, boys? Do you remember that comedian? That when the microphone used to drop in and out, and we can see you perfectly. We can hear your every other word, but you are jumping in and out. Just something Wayne's picked up on in the chat. If you can still hear us, Norman Collier. Thank you, Mark. Norman Collier was the comedian that used to do a running gag where he with his microphone, and that's what it sounded like. So Wayne was asking you about your comment on PVA being one of the best left backs in Europe. That would be offensively. What about defensively, mate?
When he decides he's interested, I think he does switch off, doesn't he? I honestly, I've seen him have some shocking defensively where he just doesn't look interested. But he's at it. He's a 9 out of 10. But there's far too many times. People say to me that watched him regularly last season would say, he has a lot or too many defensively poor. So absolutely right. I haven't seen enough of it last season, especially to make. And I see him, and from the highlights, he always seems to be involved. And as I say, going forward, he's exceptional.
And he's done well for Palace going forward, hasn't he? Let's be clear about it. He scored some fantastic goals for us.
Oh, yeah.
He's popped up on the left flank time and time again. But I think, John, as you say, he's been exposed defensively too often. And I think with someone like Tariq Mitchell available, pushing him, and at the end of last season, Roy was picking Tariq, wasn't he? And for me, I would start Tariq and let PVA have a fresh start. I think, he's been a good servant. It's a shame we can't sell him because I think he's worth a lot of money, but his contract's up. So that's that, we've done that one. We burnt our bridges, so to speak. But I think it's time for him to move on, to be fair.
Nigel, you've got any indication as to where he's heading? I heard Galatasaray.
Galatasaray was the last. I think it was on Instagram, was a picture of the Galatasaray changing rooms. That was pre the Euros.
Yeah,
I do think we've played him out of position. I think he should be further up the park, the way the Netherlands were playing him last week.
I mean, you make a great point in that he does get exposed. To know that Ross played on the night as Joel. You need those right players need to double back and help a lot more. And when you're left, 1-on-1, it's very difficult. That's where you've got really. You've got to know and get forward. You've got to be smart with that, and at times perhaps we left ourselves a little bit exposed by being a little bit too keen and eager to get up the park. But playing that level against that or that caliber of opposition, you need help in those fullback positions.
I've got to ask you, I'm conscious of your time because you promised us half an hour and we've already taken 40 minutes of your evening, John. Okay, I'm going to let you go. Tell me, are you optimistic for this coming season?
Very optimistic. I think, when I did the Nuno piece maybe 10 days ago, 2 weeks, I thought that was perfect timing. But obviously, Patrick coming now, look, the Euros are nearly over. He can have a good look at, say, the players he wants to keep. He can look at the ones he wants to bring in, or at least start identifying that, maybe one or two. And then obviously they'll be off on pre-season training. The season will come around pretty quickly. So he's got some good heads in there. They've got a lot of work to do behind the scenes just to get, a stable playing field going into the new season. But it's really going to be very important that the signings that come in, 2 or 3 really good signings that hit the ground running. But I'm massively excited about Patrick Vieira coming in. I think he's at a nice place. He's very ambitious. He wants to do well. He wants to progress. And, Palace is the perfect platform for him to cut his teeth in the Premier League, do a great job here over the next 3, 4, 5 years. And then, if we're not in Europe by then, he's ready to manage a top 4 side, go and take over at France or wherever.
So do you actually know him? Do you know him at all?
No.
You don't know him?
From meeting him and saying.
You played against him, though, presumably, John?
Yeah, so he was part of that group when they first came in that Arsene Wenger revolution, where they tried to be, they didn't really go out, and they were very dedicated, and the way they came and took, the Premier League by storm with Henry, Petit, and all those kind of guys, it was incredible what they did with Dennis Bergkamp, obviously Righty going there as well. So, you looked at them more in a sense of what they did, and it kind of get a sense of that from Patrick, and that's what we're hoping for, is that he's worked for a lot of different managers, got a lot of different philosophies, different ideas. He can be his own man. He's not under any kind of pressure from anyone. He hasn't got to impress anyone or do anything he doesn't want to do. But as a World Cup winner and a cabinet full of all the top trophies, he's got that winning mentality. And coach, the most important thing is being able to get the best out of players and to communicate that, his ideas and his philosophies, and that winning mentality can come through if the lads give him a chance. But it's that initial 2-3 months of winning the players over and then the fans over is going to be crucial.
I think I think it'll be a different first 4 games to De Boer got. I mean, we have got our first 6 games. I don't know if you got them to hand, Nige. There's a couple of some horrific. I know we got Brentford in there. We got Brighton away.
We don't play out of London for about the first 5 games.
We've got Chelsea, Spurs. We got a horrific first year, and I hope the board don't do what they did last time with the De Boer thing and go into panic mode and say, "Oh, we've got no points after 5 games," and then bin him off. I'm sure they won't. I'm sure they've learnt their lesson from that. Even though I actually agree with the De Boer sacking, I just hope they don't do it with Patrick. And the other thing, of course, I know is I mentioned it to Ian this morning on the phone. And the other thing that fills me with pride, we are the only Premier League team with a manager of colour. This is Crystal Palace. This is the local community is a diverse community, and guess what? We now have got a manager of colour. And John, do you want to touch on that subject yourself before you go?
Yeah, I think it's massively important. So that it's quite incredible that there aren't more BAME coaches, managers, the football, and certainly chairman. But that hopefully that we're addressing. This goes a long way towards that. I know that like Salako desperate for jobs. We've got to get more of the lads. Obviously, Chris Powell's working with Gareth at There's got to be a lot more role models. I think especially for the black. I don't think there is that pathway, and there is going to be that opportunity to work. So they think, why are we going to bother? Obviously you got Chris Hughton, Les Ferdinand has done well at the senior level of the game, but there's far too BAME managers work, and a large part of it is not having those role models and not feeling they've got the opportunity to go and be given those. So we'll for that reason as well, you really want Patrick to do well, and I hope he does.
Absolutely. Nadine's just correcting me and said, of course, Nuno is from where does he originate from? I don't know where Nuno originates from.
Portugal.
Portuguese.
In connection, so he could be a sort of back South American connection. But we shouldn't get too wrapped up on that. I think that's something that in the background and one of the things that I think massively looked at and is changing. So we need to stay on the front foot.
But my point was that I'm proud that Palace are on that front foot, and they're leading the charge from the front, and rightly so, because of our diverse community. And long may it continue. John, can I ask you one more thing? This is the first time we've used this particular platform, hence why you got so many links earlier, and I apologise for that. That's my fault. Once we iron that out a little bit, come and see us during the season.
I will do, but can I just send out a massive message to Gareth and the boys for Wednesday night? Gareth's going to bring it home. I'm absolutely convinced of that. The job he's done is quite phenomenal. I'm so proud of him. He is one of our own, and I had good 10 years with Gareth, and he just continues to do us proud. And I think the way he's galvanised and brought that England side together and getting the best out of them, and we've got a group of really exciting young bunch of England players that we can now just hopefully get excited about. And this could be the catalyst. We beat, obviously beat Denmark on Wednesday and then go into Italy, Spain on Sunday, and we bring it home. I'm convinced it's going to happen, and it can happen to a nicer guy. So good luck to get the boys.
Listen, and again, because in case you can't see the chat, Andy's saying, Johnny, you're a legend. Thank you for being. This is what he's saying. Thank you for being on the show. We hope to see you on the show much more frequently. John, just pick up the bloody phone and you can come on whenever you want, mate. We do it every Sunday night, as you know, and you are always welcome. You're a part of the Palace family. You're more embroiled in the Palace family than that little eagle is there, all right? So, mate, come on whenever you like.
Thanks very much for having me on, guys.
I'll catch up with you soon, JS. All right, mate.
Cheers.
Phone me, beer. Phone me, beer. See you, mate. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That was the Palace legend that is Johnny Salako, once again on the Red and Blue Review. He loves us.
He's a good lad, isn't he? He's a good lad.
And he's a genuinely, those of you who have never met him, he's genuinely a nice guy. What a gentleman of a chap. And he tells such a good story, doesn't he? He speaks so well, doesn't he? Listen to what he just said about Gareth Southgate, okay? But he just oozes love for the game, and there should be a place for him in the game. I nearly said to him just now, if Patrick picks up the phone, would you come running? And the answer would have been yes.
Yeah, because he had a couple of seasons, didn't he, with under Alan Pardew, and before that he did the under 16s. Oh, I can hear your vape on there, Nick.
Sorry, mate. Sorry.
And he did the under 16s for a season at Palace. And my mate Paul Farley and I, we went down there one Saturday morning, and you weren't supposed to be down there. And he got us in, and we watched the under 16s game. And I was having a chat to him on the side while the game was going on, and the FA official told me off. I had to move away from the technical area.
Really?
Can you believe that? Another 16s game, yeah. So I've got a few Salako stories. And in fact, the first time I ever spoke to him on the phone, I said, so you played for England 4 times, John? He goes, 5. Oh, okay. So you have 5 caps, and he's very proud of that.
Yeah. Nigel, can you confirm or deny?
I can confirm that. 5 caps, no goals.
No goals.
And how many caps for the Palace?
I've got that to me. 271, I think. Hang on.
215 leagues, then you'd have had friendlies and cup games on top of that, so it's 270 odd.
See, ladies and gentlemen out in Facebook land,
15,
where would you have picked your phone up or your iPad or your laptop this evening and watch any of the other broadcasts for the Love Our Club, and they do a terrific job, so I'm not criticising them, and got to see a Crystal Palace legend live in the flesh in your living rooms, okay? Red and Blue Review. Please spread the word about Red and Blue Review. We ain't going anywhere. By the way, Jel says he's lovely. He nearly came on tonight, but he's busy at work as always. But he'll be back in during the season. What else do we need to touch on, lads? I can't remember now.
Well, I think we need to talk more about the Euros. John said he wanted to get his message into Gareth, and of course, Gareth is one of our own. Let's remember that Gareth Southgate played 100 odd times for the Palace reserves before he even got in the first team. He's a local lad from Crawley, the southeast, and like John said, I'm proud of Gareth. Now, something I don't know if I've told you this, Nick, but I knew Gareth quite well for about 4 years in the 90s. I was his bank manager. I know it's hard to believe, but I was, and I won't tell you what bank it was for. That would be breaching too many things and that. But no, I knew Gareth quite well, and he actually phoned me 2 days after he missed that penalty. My desk phone, before we had mobiles, my desk phone rang, and it was Gareth wanted to sort a few financial bits and pieces out, and I really didn't know what to say to him. Actually, I wrote him a letter saying how proud we were of him at the bank and how unlucky he was. And what he didn't like about '96 was that some people he knew well refused to talk to him because they didn't know what to say to him after that penalty miss. But of course, he's talked about it a lot latterly, isn't it? 25 years ago that was now. And he's talked about it a lot on TV. And I hope that we do win the Euros for Gareth Southgate, no one else, And I'll tell you something else. If we win it, he's going to get a knighthood.
Of course he is. Of course he is.
Wasn't it? So, you can see it.
Andy's asking us to touch on the kits, which we're going to do in a minute. I mean, Nigel, the bloke Southgate has absolutely galvanised the squad. If you watch all the clips that are coming out of St George's Park and everything else, the lads in the pool and all that sort of stuff. I mean, he's got a great atmosphere going on in and around St George's Park.
He's got that camaraderie going between the whole team. It's because you could have so easily had sort of one group sort of go back to the European Cup final, sort of Chelsea versus Man City.
Yeah.
You could have had a complete split in that England camp, but he's just gelled everything together, and they just won.
The thing about us is we're growing into the tournament, as various people have said. We started fairly slowly, didn't we? The Czech Republic game, the Scotland game, the Croatia game. We only scored 2 goals in the group. We didn't concede. And then, to beat the Germans like we did, well, that felt good, didn't it? Really good. And
I'm glad you touched it, Ian, because I'm actually going to come back at you if you don't mind. And I know my role is normally as anchor man, but I'm actually going to come back. I'll be honest with you. I think you're right to a point that we've got more to come. We've got to play better, because people are going to ready to crucify me out in Facebook land. People go for it. I don't think we played that well against Ukraine. We won 4-0 for God's sake. What more do you want? I'll tell you what it was, and this is how I described it. I described it as I thought we were watching Roy Ball again, and I'll go goalkeeper out to defenders, out to midfield, back to goalkeeper. Defenders, midfield. Oh, we've got an attacker. Let's go and send it down to the attacker. The attacker takes it down the line. Dead ball situation. Cross the ball, score a goal. And it happened 4 times.
We had 6 shots on target in that game.
Yeah.
And scored 4 goals.
And that's my point.
That rarely happens. And what I really like about England now, and John touched on it, I think, is the strength in depth. Grealish and Foden.
Can't get a look in.
Both are brilliant. They didn't even get on the pitch against you.
Can't get a look in. I know. It's amazing.
And yet, Gareth, what did he do at the end of full time? The first person he went to was Jack Grealish, put his arm around him, and he probably said, "You've got a part to play in this still.
You're going to win this. You're going to win this cup." Right. Just a couple of things. Paul Bristow, thank you, mate. John Salako, 273 appearances, 34 goals for Palace. Which, if I was reading John correctly just now, he thinks it could have been better than that, simply because he was supplying right and bright all the time, which is absolutely fair and probably right as well. So Andy's asked us to touch on the kits again. The reason I wore the yellow, because we're going back to the yellow for the third kit. I'm disappointed.
Yeah, not the second kit.
It's the away kit. It's not a third kit. It's the away kit. It's
the second kit.
Is it the second kit?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
well, and I think if I read my club like I think I read my club, that tomorrow, or they'll have done it today, but because Vieira was at the training ground, tomorrow they will probably introduce Vieira formally with the Palace welcome video. And I would be betting, if I was a betting man, I'd say it'll be the kit launch at the same time. Now, there was a mock-up. There was a mock-up going around social media the other day. Okay, and I think I put it in the chats, boys, that you'd have seen it, where it looked like outside the barber shop, the barber pole, the red and white stripe going.
Oh, stick of rock, wasn't it?
It looked like a stick of rock. If it's that, okay, and somebody has told me who claims to be in the know, and we actually get some of our information on the show, and is normally pretty reliable. He said, when the Palace fans see the new home kit, Palace social media will go into meltdown. We don't know what it is, so we can't even talk about it. But if it is that kit, God help us. We saw the mock-up.
You know what, Nick? So what if it's that kit? I couldn't care less, really. As long as it's red and blue, I really couldn't care less. Do you know what? Last season's home kit got bad press on social media before we put it. Well, when we wore it against Southampton at home, it looked good. It looked the business. So you might find that although this thing looks crap and it looks like a stick of rock or the barber shop or whatever else you want to call it, if that is the kit and 10 guys out on a pitch and a goalkeeper, then suddenly it looks a good kit. If we're scoring goals in it, I don't care what it looks like. I really don't.
Andy Stacey believes it's coming out in the Palace Club shop in Croydon on Wednesday. I don't know if there's any. I don't know if there's any truth for that. But there you go, guys. It's already been an hour, or just under an hour. We said we were only going to come on, so talk about the new manager, and that's how time flies. ladies and gentlemen, unless you guys want to talk about anything else in particular, I'm not in any particular rush. In fact, I'm up for work at 4 o'clock in the morning. Leslie, thank you for your lovely comments. I can see them, mate. You go make Madame a glass of wine because she deserves it, being married to you, of course. Ladies and gentlemen in Facebook land, we will be back every Sunday night or post game. So if it's a Sunday game, we'll do it on the Monday and so on and so forth. But we will be back. The whole team, that's Lions, that's Holyoke, that's Usher. Who else have I missed? The whole team.
Some of the youngsters that came on, they were refreshing.
Yeah, the youngsters.
Okay, Harvey's signed up for the season. G Webb has signed up for the season. Okay, and the beauty about it is we're going to interact with each and every one of them. You tell us out in Facebook land what you'd like to see differently on the show. We've got brand new software here that I've had to use on my bloody iPad. It should be done on the laptop, but the laptop died just before we went on air. Nothing surprising there. That's nothing to do with the new software. That's to do with the laptop. But it's not a problem. We are here for you don't forget, we are the only podcast you can watch. We are live, whereas the others are all pre-recorded now, all scripted. This is done off the cuff with a little bit of preparation by the boys in the background. Nigel, I know you've done a load of work for tonight, but obviously we never got to it as usual. That's per usual. Last thoughts from you, Nigel?
Well, my first thing is I'm looking forward to Wednesday and hopefully Sunday.
Yeah.
And then a good pre-season for Paris after that, with some good wheeling and dealing in the transfer by young Patrick.
Indeed. Okay, Mr. Noble, your thoughts, optimism for the future.
Yeah, first of all, England in the Euros. My prediction on Wednesday night, by the way, Nigel was too shy to say what his prediction was.
2-2.
I've got 3-1 England, okay? 3-1 England. I'm 2 points off the lead in the red and blue prediction league for the Euros, and I'd like to win it. So
hang on.
Made no bones about that, I'd love to win it. It's
Where are you now?
Contest. Say again?
Where are you in the league?
I'm 2 points off the lead.
All right, okay.
2 points. I'm close enough to win it.
Yeah.
With 3 games to play. Okay.
Yeah, you're on 41 points, Ian.
Yeah.
Matty Cannon. I don't know if he's related to Jim. He's sitting there on 43.
Exactly.
Okay, well, on that subject, let's just give it a little bit of a plug for the season. Ladies and gentlemen, Ian Lyons is going to be doing a World Cup prediction league. Okay, this thing has gone down. You'll all be aware that we did a predictions league for the Premier League last year, and it went down okay. The one for the Euros has gone down an absolute storm. Ian Lyons has put a mammoth amount of work in it, and he needs to be congratulated. We're going to do he's going to do another one for the World Cup, and of course we're going to be doing another one for the Premier League, the forthcoming Premier League season. So if you want to get involved, Paul Holden's out there. I know he's in it. I think Rob's in it as well. Andy Stacey's in it. All you guys are enjoying it. And the joke behind it all for the knockout stages of the Euros, who was bottom of the league right the way through. Okay, I'll put my hand up to it. It was me. That was because it's a bit of fun. It's not serious. Yeah. It's a bit of fun. During the next round, the next stage, I was actually top of the league for some of the time, weren't I, boys?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Screenshot that, didn't we?
Yeah, screenshot. One game, wasn't it? One game you were.
Shut your trap, okay? Be nice, okay?
I think we should put out a congratulations to Liz for winning the.
Liz Hockley won the knockout stages, didn't she?
Yes.
The group stages, so she did really well.
Yeah, she won that on 35 points.
Yeah,
so
congratulations,
to Liz.
So, ladies and gentlemen, just get in touch with any of us if you fancy us discussing something during the coming weeks. Okay, we can come on and do another one of these before the new season starts. I don't care. I'm sure that I can get some bodies to come and join us like I had tonight, and I'm very grateful for giving up their evenings. Thank you for joining us, all of you, for joining us on Red and Blue Review. We will be back bigger, better, and stronger through the whole of the 21-22 seasons. Nigel and Ian, thanks for joining us as always, mate.
Thank you.
And we'll talk again soon, yeah? On behalf of myself, Nick Philpott, and the whole team, take care of yourselves. Enjoy your summer. Good night, everyone.
Cheers, guys.
Football's coming home.
Football's coming home.